This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to Eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.
Whoa, there I am. Those tickets are going fast. Get them today. Get them tomorrow. Get them before the 19th and 20th of September. Crossing Realms Conference. Be fantastic. Thanks to everybody for coming on into late night into the Bazaar. We got a great show for you tonight. Of course, we've got Monica Rollins from our paranormal world joining us. And of course, my buddy Tex from Texas Front Porch. He has his schedule worked tonight for Mr. Tex. The Blondes and the Blues, well, you know what? They have the night off. They just finished up that conference out in Tennessee. I heard, as Tex would say, it was quite a hoot. Like 1,000 people were there. Something we might have to check into and attend next year, I guess, from what I understand. I'm sure it was fun. So they're already sacked out in bed because they got a long drive home tomorrow. So, yeah, if this is your first time here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michiganrob on YouTube. The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. The Blondes and the Boo Podcast. Robbie. Texas Front Porch. Monica Rollins, our Paranormal World. Paranormal Paul. Donnie Show says stuff. I understand Donnie had quite the show. Go check out Donnie. And then we got Paranormal Paul, Josh Turner, PRT. Amongst others, Daniel Diva, also found on YouTube. Going to be a great show. The Super Chat's open, a great way to help support what we all do around here. Also, you can become a BMR pirate. Arr, mateys, join today. Join the many. Join the few. Become a pirate. You get a picture of me with a bandana next to your name in the chat room. That's what you get. For now, that's what you get. Great show. Find us on all podcast platforms. Wherever you find podcasts, we are there. So please go check those out when you're driving. I know Andrew Gnomes Trucking's in the house, and I know he listens to the podcast version. He was in Kalamazoo, Michigan. A little birdie told me today. He stopped at this Eggo Waffle House. I'll be interested in hearing that conversation from him when I meet him at our conference on the 19th and 20th. With that being said, I will bring up the lovely Monica. Hello, Monica.
Hello, Robbie.
Good to see you. You caught that. Yes. You can call me Robbie. All my closest of friends and family call me Robbie.
I like that.
I like it. I mean, yeah. I'm not Bob. My dad was Bob. I'm Rob or Robbie. Yeah, that's
I know I usually call you Rob. But
yeah,
really cute, so I had to.
I don't throw out the Robbie thing too often. It just kind of develops. People call me. Tex started calling me Robbie some time ago. Once in a while in the chat room, I noticed he spells it wrong, but that's okay. Tex. Speaking of Tex, I'm gonna bring the Texan up. What's up, brother?
Oh, Robert.
Well, Roberts. Yeah, and now I've not been called that one in a while. But yeah. What's up, Tex?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just got back home a little while ago and thought I'd jump in. Made 1 out of 3 shows tonight, so that's not bad.
Well, you got that crazy schedule going on. I missed you on Thursday. Because the Thursday show is kind of, I got Brent once in a while and myself. So yeah, but I got a message from you. I guess you go back to a normal. Well, the shift you have is normal now. It's
normal now.
Normal now, but then it changes. Yeah. It's going to change, I guess, in June. You were telling me. I read on chats or something.
I'm doing training right now. Woo.
Okay, well now if you're really on during the show,
I'm doing training right now, and I'm Monday through Friday, normal working hours, and but when I get back from the Alabama conference, I will be going to my night shift. So
you are the night owl.
Yeah, we just won't have any night owl shows for a while. That's the thing, right?
Well, I will when I get back on my nights, because I will be off. I'll be off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and every other Saturday. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll be on this show every other
Saturday.
Yeah, every other Saturday. Well,
if your wife lets you.
Yeah, it depends what we're doing. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got your own personal life. I mean, I understand you. Were
surprisingly, yeah, I do. I do have a life outside of this, and I know that shocks everybody, but I do.
It is shocking. It is shocking. And Monica.
Yeah.
Speaking of other things that we all have going on, I can't wait for this weather to break. It's been 50 degrees last 3 days. I don't think my grass is going to grow, Monica.
You don't think what is going to grow?
My grass? Yeah, I was telling you.
I got dormant right now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, I put that new seed down, those little saplings, seedlings, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. Hopefully
they'll germinate when it starts warming up.
I hope so.
I think it's not freezing, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yes, correct.
I put new grass seed down, and they didn't do nothing. And then I put them down again, and I tried something a little different, and they're growing like gangbusters now.
Are you putting it down with fertilizer?
No, they come fertilized. It's
like the encased.
Yeah. But it's coming up now. I mean, it's doing really good. It's about 2 inches high now. Wow. So, something, talking about all this rain and stuff we've been having, something interesting. Yeah. They're putting in a new bridge across the Red River up at Brown Springs. Sorry for yawning, guys. It's been a long day. I'm used to being in bed for a few hours by now. But they're building a temporary bridge so that they can use while they tear apart the old one and put a new one in, right?
Yeah.
Well, they screwed up.
Uh-oh.
Because the temporary bridge is about probably 10 foot lower than the original bridge.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's not good on the river.
It was the water on the Red River right now is over the new temporary bridge.
Is this the 35 bridge?
Yes.
Oh. That's
what they were thinking. I have no idea, because in the years that I've been going up there, I have seen it numerous times be about a foot or two below the old bridge.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we went to. I did go to Oklahoma today. We went to the other side, right outside of Bowie in Waukita and that area. And let me tell you, folks, the Red River is out of banks, and it looks like a freaking Mississippi, man. It is rolling, and it is wide, and it is red.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Lake Texoma's
you could not pay me enough to get in that river right now. No, that is a death.
I'm not so sure I'd want to go into the Red River from the pictures I've seen. Period.
Just a little muddy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, that's it. It's just a little muddy.
There's
there's no quicksand on the banks.
Yeah. I'm sure there is a little bit. You guys know there is.
You know,
Yeah.
it's getting that time of the year. Since this rain settles down a little bit, me and Monica's husband are going to go get wet.
I'm glad
Oh,
it's
yeah, the Dogman Ranch.
Yes, I am very much looking forward to that.
Got to make sure you guys don't get swept into the
Yeah.
underground portion of that creek.
Yeah, that would not be a good thing. I cannot wait to see what's under there, and because we don't know that it's never been explored, and I'm chomping at the bit.
I mean, I'd like y'all to do it while it's relatively cool before the snakes start coming out in force, because darn well there's going to be moccasins all up in there.
Yeah, there may be one or two.
Yeah.
But I'm hey, we need to talk after the show.
Okay.
So, because you have it here.
I'm wide open.
I'm really looking forward to that because underwater photography, that's what your husband does, correct, Monica? A part of his.
Well, that's what he did.
A dive master, right? Or master diver or something, whatever they're called. But he also did, I don't do it, so I don't know what they're called.
Right.
He also filmed. Yeah, he films underwater. He's a cameraman, but he did do a lot of underwater work for different outdoors.
Like
there was an outdoor channel. There were shows on there, like travel shows that he did a lot of underwater photography for and filming. And and he did that whole Iatiki thing where they were out on the raft forever. He was filming for Nat Geo for that.
Oh, okay.
So yes, we are going to have. I'm looking so forward. It's going to be so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I know if we don't come up with a fossil out of there for Monica, she's going to wring her neck.
Well, there's no way you won't. I'd really like a dinosaur track. Can you get me a dinosaur track?
If it's down, if it's down there, and I can get it out, I'm going to get it out.
All right.
So,
I might put on a tank for that.
You know what? Before we get on, really quickly, I'm looking to invest in. I just found you don't have to be a dive master, or you do not have to have diving experience. They have portable tanks that you can strap around your waist, around your chest, and they give you up to 20 minutes of oxygen where you can dive to depths of 20 to 30 feet.
Yeah.
Anywhere you don't have to decompress on the way up.
Yeah.
You can run hookah lines too, which are just direct air lines to the surface.
Yeah. I'm looking at buying one of those.
Yeah, I do hookah all day because and the creek's not that deep. What is it like?
No, you're looking at maybe 10 feet deep.
10 feet at the deepest,
and crystal clear. Crystal clear.
It's gonna be cold as heck. Because that's got to be spring fed.
That's what I'm thinking, and I'm so looking forward to this. Oh my gosh!
Well,
yeah,
it's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Something different in text, and frankly, it's excited. I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to hear back eventually when this happens. And I got a Dogman account, I think is what this is. It talked about to start the show, and it's also funny though that Monica mentioned dinosaur tracks because part of Bizarre News tonight. That's going to be a part of Bizarre News.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah. But so a little different. I'm starting off with this quick encounter that I got some time back. And but I figured I would just tell it. I didn't have my BMR story time on Friday. I've had a lot of things going on here. So I did not have a show Friday so people that was looking forward to that. It'll be back next week, but I'm putting together a new series though, which I might delay the release until maybe the next Friday, the Werewolf Chronicles. It's going to be a 3-part series I'm going to be putting on Fridays. So hang tight for that, everybody. But this is pretty cool. I got this, I think 8-9 months ago. I think it's the first time I've ever told anybody this one. because I can find them here and there when I get them. I get so many emails that I've yet to open, dating from I started advertising this back in like 23, 22, end of 22. So it's cool, at least for me, that I have something to go to. And this one, it starts out, I just called this one the Haunted Bridge. It's supposedly about this haunted bridge, but in fact, it turns out to be not at all haunted. This guy goes on to tell me, you guys, that his name was Roy, and he was telling me that he was out with his best friend, Alan. And it was, I believe, let me think, the year of 1991. It was early in September. And they had this very frightful experience, I guess the guys tell me, which they believed it was a Bigfoot or some other cryptid. And that's really all the detail that they gave, because he wanted to tell me about something else that's coming up shortly here. But he does tell me, hey, Rob, man, I was so frightened by this that he waited 6 years later to report this to the BFRO. And he did that in 1997. Now, he says that the location of this was in Ashland County, Ohio. So this guy, Roy, and his buddy Alan, in 1997, a few weeks after Roy sent on the report, they decided to go investigate that location once again. And they also found out, though, that there was a haunted bridge where many of the locals were talking about. So it was right in this vicinity of the alleged encounter in 91, and now there's this haunted bridge. And Roy was going on to tell me that he and his friend, they were very much interested in cryptids and like Bigfoot. Their thing was the paranormal, ghosts, things like this. So that's what really spurred them on. And of course, the fact that it was near their encounter site made it even more interesting for them. And they says, Rob, we're novices. We do it when we can on the weekends, when we have time off from work, this, that, and the other. So we're not experts, they tell me. And I'm like, good. I'm glad you didn't say you were an expert. Because, I am an expert, right? We all know what that's all about. But they knew that they both knew that they knew Bigfoot existed by their encounter, which I'm trying to get this encounter from the guy because he says it so many times in the email. But anyway, they go out, they take about going down to this haunted bridge. He says it was dark, and Roy and his Allen guy, they approached the bridge. And he says it was a very older bridge. The bridge was it had a covered wooden structure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it gave them the look and feel of an above ground tunnel. I think we've all come across those creepy tunnels, and they're covered by wood. Very interesting, kind of creepy, especially at nighttime. I imagine.
Yeah, we've got a road like that. Well, a few of the parts of the road out there, Dogman Ranch, are just like that.
Oh, okay, cool. So walking through they're walking through this bridge, and again, there's no activity going on, and they're just kind of sauntering about, and they're getting kind of bored. Well, not really bored. They're still excited, but they're kind of disappointed is the better word, because nothing's going on. So they decide, well, you know what? We've been out here for several hours. It's time to go home. So upon exiting the bridge at the other end of the tunnel, they hear the sounds of some sort of bustling and movement. So this guy, Roy and Alan, they're about 50 yards from a tree line at the end of the bridge. And they really didn't give much attention to the sounds at first. Several more minutes into walking, they stumbled upon an old dilapidated barn that they thought would be a quick, worthwhile to take a quick look inside. Again, it's creepy, much like this, tunnel, this bridge with the tunnel. So they already exited the tunnel and all this, that, and the other, or the bridge, I should say. And so you take a quick peek inside. And this barn was standing, I guess, in this open field. It was maybe a little closer to the tree line, maybe 30 yards. I said earlier from 50 yards out, they thought they heard some rustling or bustling about, but now they're like a little closer at this barn. And then all of a sudden, though, that movement it starts back up. Those sounds starts back up, but now the movement is more pronounced, and they can distinctly hear heavy footfall. So now at the same instance of hearing this heavy football, the sound was accompanied now by a loud growl or yell, he says, from the woods, right from the edge of the tree line. So these two guys, Roy and Al, they're terrified. They don't know what's going on. It was a sound that they've never heard before. And as I mentioned, they're kind of novices in the paranormal. And he even tells me in the story or during the email that not really familiar with all the sounds of the woods. It's just kind of like a passing fancy. When they can get out, they get out. So they're scared. Then they're looking at towards the tree line from where these sounds and these growls are emanating from. And here emerges, as he tells me, this huge animal. And this animal is on all fours and it's running towards these guys from the tree line as they're now outside of this dilapidated barn. Rob, he says, is much bigger than a wolf, but smaller than a bear. And then Roy and Alan realized that this creature or this animal was not normal at all. It was not a normal animal of the woods. This they could ascertain. They said it was some sort of creature. It comes to a complete stop on all fours. And then from the position of standing on all fours, it rises up bipedally on the two legs. And now it once again starts advancing towards them, not running, but walking with a very big gait, and it's rapidly getting upon these guys. And it's nighttime. They're kind of trying to figure out what this is. They shine a light at it, and they said this thing was hugely tall. He goes, Rob, I'm not going to say it's 12 foot tall because it would sound really crazy, but man, this thing was bigger than any average sized human being, bigger than an NBA basketball player. He said it was very broad, almost like at the breadth of like a gorilla, I guess. So these two dudes, they start running. They start running. Rob, we shouldn't have ran. We figure it's a predator. Now we start to run, and now they can feel this creature getting close to them. So they stop, they turn around, and now as this thing is getting closer to them, Rob, I swear it looked like a werewolf out of a motion picture, which petrified them. Now they know now that they're in danger. They're not going to run. They said, well, why bother running? Because it might just spur on more activity from whatever this is, and it's running. It's bearing down on these two guys. All of a sudden, out of the blue, another four-legged animal's running from the tree line, blazing speed toward them and this other biped werewolf, I guess. And at first that they thought that this creature was running towards and joining in with this other creature, when in fact, from the four legs, it now stands up and says it tackles this other creature to the ground, knocks them on the ground, and they're rolling around on the ground like they're fighting. So these guys now say, hey, let's get the hell out of here. Now they start running. And they're running. He says, Rob, I can't tell you how long we ran for. It seemed like hours. It was probably only a matter of minutes. Then they hear this howl, this crazy howl. Whatever the reason, I guess Roy or Alan, one of the two of these guys, they stop, they turn around, and they see both of these creatures running back into the tree line. He goes, Rob, to this day, I can't tell you what this experience was. I know it sounds out there, he says, kind of like, a werewolf, a dogman, whatever, from his minimal experience or knowledge about these cryptids. But he says, if it wasn't whatever it was, it seemed like the first creature wanted to do harm to them, but for whatever the reason, the second creature overtook it, tackled it, and then they both scurried off back in the woods. And he says to me, if it wasn't for that experience or from that intervention from this other creature, cryptid, whatever, he says, man, he says, my friend and I probably would have died that night. And he goes, what's your thoughts? What do you think this is? And I'm like anybody else that asks me something, I say, well, I wasn't there. I mean, sounds like a werewolf or a dog man to me. I mean, you were the one that was there. You explained it like a werewolf. So I don't know, you guys. I thought that was a fascinating story that I got. I've been sitting on that for a little bit. And again, and before I turn it over to you guys, you never hear about, at least I haven't. I can only speak for myself. When it comes to these creatures, I never heard them about being helpful. And it seemed like this one kind of helped these two human beings out, So I thought it was a pretty cool story.
There are some stories of them helping people, like children sometimes.
Yeah.
Like there's one in the original Missing 411 book where Mr. Wolf helped the kids. She called him Mr. Wolf or something like that. So, I mean, I would say they're few and far between. It seems more like these things are out to, if not like kill you, then at least scare you really bad. So I don't know if they're getting some, like it's a kick, like it's like, watch this, hey, hold my beer, kind of thing. Or if they get some sort of feeding on that fear, or a combination of that, who knows? But the other one tackling it is interesting. And the fact that they rolled around and then ran off together.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, maybe it was like his cousin tackling him like, yo, dude, like chill out. We can't be killing people out in the open like this.
I know you're trying to make light of that, but I was thinking that same thing. I think it had been a related part of the clan. Yeah. And this guy was overzealous, and maybe he had nefarious intentions.
I mean, it sounds like I'm joking. I'm not. I think that why
would
well,
I don't. I know you're not, but for other people listening, I know you're not. And he probably figured maybe his cousin or his brother or whatever had intentions that were ill-willed, right? And he said, "Hey, chill out," like you said.
Yeah,
we're not gonna be off
doing this. Not here anyway.
Yeah, not now. We're already fed.
Yeah. Or this is on a main trail. There's game wardens everywhere. Maybe not here.
Well, something interesting that you said, Monica, which I come across quite often, is I get this for me, when we talk about like the Dogman, the werewolf, whatever, shapeshifter, it seems like oftentimes, outside of like the LBL and maybe a couple other stories where there's people that are unalived, as they say on YouTube, to me, they just want to let you know they're there, and they just want to scare the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And then they that's the way they get their jollies off, and then they take off. And I think this might have been the same instance, but it was taken a little bit to more of an extreme level.
Well, there are stories where one is stalking somebody. There's one that stands out in my head, and I can't remember where I heard it. But this kid, let's say young adult, was walking home from a friend's house at night. And I can't remember if he started out walking or if his car died. But anyway, he was on foot at some point. And he notices he's getting chased or something's stalking him. And he can't really see what it is, but he like the hair standing up on his neck. He's clearly uncomfortable. And he's trying to hustle his little tushy down the road. And a car comes around the corner and illuminates this werewolf, essentially, that's stalking him across the road. And it slams on its brakes and backs up and is like, get in. Like, get in, because they saw it too. And he jumps in the car. I mean, it was a small community from what I understood, if I remember correctly. And he knew the person. So it was like he was jumping in a stranger's car. Not that it would matter at that point.
Yeah.
But, they drove him back to his house or back to his friends. I can't remember. But I remember that being scary. And I've heard lots of stories about people claiming that they wake up with these things standing in their house, and stories of people being found unalived in their home after they've reported seeing crazy things like that. So I wouldn't say it's like a lot of stories, but it's enough that I remember them. Because I mean, well, how would that not stand out if you're reading a story or you come across something that says, these things are breaking into homes, and I remember Johnson, before he passed away, he was doing a lot of Dogman investigations, and they had them reportedly coming into the home on the area that they were investigating. I remember that very specifically. JC Johnson, yeah.
JC, yes, I've heard of him for sure. Read a lot of things and saw some old YouTube things. And really briefly, before we get Texas take, I've also had a story where a dog man, you talk about them appearing in people's houses. There was two that I distinctly remember. I think one was in one of the books I even wrote. One was standing on this woman's balcony. They had this big house, and the balcony was connected to the bedroom, and she's at her vanity putting on her makeup, and she looks in her mirror, a nice sizable mirror, to look back to they had like the French doors that open to the deck, right, out overlooking the woods. And she looks in her mirror and she sees this standing there, this, as she says, this wolf creature.
Oh my God.
And she turns around, she sees it sneering, or what's the word? Looking in on her. And then she's like frightened. She screams. Her husband and her friend are in the basement. And then this thing just jumps off of the deck, I guess, and runs towards the forest. And the husband runs up with the buddy from the basement, and she tells him what she saw. And they go out on the deck that led to the bedroom. And there was like, and apparently when this thing jumped off, it put his foot into a big flower pot and busted it. And then it used that one right hind foot, left a dirt impression of like an oversized wolf right into the on top of their deck, and then jumped off. And they saw some certain tracks. When it landed off the deck, it made deep impressions in the ground as it sped off toward the tree line. And I'm not getting into that story. That's the nuts and bolts of how it started, but it was quite a story, quite an elaborate story, and how him and his buddy went looking for this thing, and he came up with some evidence, I guess. But and then another spirit dog man, another story had emanated from a fireplace. I mean, staring down some people.
Nope.
Which yeah, whatever that was. And that's another story that I'm not getting into. But yeah. So Tex, what do you think about that story, man? I thought it was pretty cool. Luckily that they're alive, and maybe a dog man helped the other dog or kill. Maybe like Monica said, two guys have a fun like humans.
Dogman bros.
Yeah, the Dogman bros.
Well, with Monica, like Monica was saying, I've heard stories. They're few and far between of these things helping each other or not helping each other. Well, help that too, but helping humans. But this honestly sounds like, because okay. Have you ever seen dogs like playing with a toy and the other one tackles the other dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it sounds like. Like y'all are saying, is like keeping the other one from either harassing or possibly making lunch out of these fellas, So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all, because if these things are intelligent like they appear to be, why wouldn't they have the wherewithal to go, this is just going to cause us more trouble, and if that was an older one, maybe it's like, maybe it was a older one jumping on a younger one, cut that out kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, reverting back to what Monica said and the text that you just said about intelligence, maybe the first one maybe was going to make lunch of these people, as you said, or an evening snack. And the other one being, let's assume they are smart, as we all assume they're smart.
Mhm.
Any animal in the forest is smart. It doesn't have to be a cryptid, a bear, a wolf, a squirrel. They're smart, right? For what they are. And hey, maybe we thought, look, we don't need anybody investigating this part of town, this part of the woods, because if a human being gets offed, it's just going to create investigations into the forest, and they don't want that.
Right.
We know Bigfoot don't want any advertising outside of beef jerky commercials, right?
Yeah, right.
So maybe he didn't care about the human life, but more to preserve their way of life in
Their
a particular
own.
town. Yeah.
Yeah, very possible.
Just a thought. I don't know. Well, all
I
we do is
mean,
speak about it.
Hey, I'm with you. I mean, it's these explanations. I mean, 6 of one, half does the other.
Yeah.
One's as good as the other one is. So these things, these critters do so much stuff that we can't explain. So there comes a point where you're going, yeah, well, probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When people talk to me or send me an email or talk to people on the street. Yeah, could be. I mean, I don't
Sure,
tie
why
anything, I've heard something similar. What I like about anything that I get or anything any of us get or all these shows that we do, the one thing that I do like a lot about all of these, maybe not this one so much. A lot of them have a lot of commonalities that we can tie together to our past experiences, past guests we've had on shows, other podcasts we might watch. You know what I mean? It's all I always say this, you hear me say this quite often about the data. Collect it, put it aside, put it in the memory banks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Heard something like that before,
You hear enough stories, it gets stored in the old file cabinet, whether you want it to or not.
I've heard so many now that I kind of mix them all together and forget, oh, wait, this is the other one. You know what I mean? Now you're getting overloaded with information and stories and talk.
You start mashing them together, that's when you have a problem.
That's when you have a problem. So I thought that was cool to start the show. We're going to do a little bizarre news now.
Bum, 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 bum.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, and which we do. If you're new here, please subscribe to our channels. You can see us Bigfoot Michiganrob, Texas Front Porch, our Paranormal World. And our buddies, the Blondes and the Boos, that are sleeping in Tennessee. Take a long day, drive home tomorrow. But yeah, we're going to do something. So on this show, it's a little different than most all the other shows. It's kind of a fun show, but we still talk weird stuff. And of course, the bizarre news is always extremely weird. Yes, that's right. The bizarre news. However, before I get in with the bizarre news, I'm going to give a quick little thing that I found, you guys, because it's going to pertain to the last bizarre news tidbit that I'm going to talk about. But I found this very strange. Monica text, you guys ever use eBay back in the day?
Back in the day.
I used it back in the day. And this is not up to date. Like all bizarre news, everybody's things that has happened in April. This, however, was in 2012. But I just felt compelled to tell this because I found it odd. and it's also going to tie into the last, again, as I mentioned, bizarre news. The online auction giant, 2012, okay. The online auction giant has announced that it no longer will permit the sale of magical items. Yeah. So from September onwards in 2012, eBay will be cracking down on advice, spells, curses,
Dang it.
hexing, conjuring,
There goes
magic,
my side hustle.
prayers, blessing services, magic potions, healing sessions, according to a recent announcement.
You can't have any of that going on.
Now, the move comes as a blow to many patrons of eBay who sell such items on the site. But it has been seen as a positive move by skeptics. eBay previously placed restrictions on the sale of intangible items following a number of people using the auction service to sell their own souls.
Oh, I heard about that.
More damaging to the online auction house are lawsuits pending seeking damage for negligence and the careless business actions leading to alleged deaths and other related instances to customers and consumers.
Well, maybe don't sell your soul on eBay. And you won't have to seek damages at a later point.
Yeah, you know.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, this is going to, of course, you know me, I'm always going to take the show to the, make a left turn here.
Now we have four other bizarre news, by the way, we have to get through. But go ahead, Tex.
Well, I'll just real quick.
Make your left turn. I'm not telling you not to.
That's not the only peculiar thing I've heard.
I'm only looking out for Monica. I'm only looking out for Monica.
There was a woman that sold her virginity on eBay.
Ooh.
Oh, that's creepy. That is definitely bizarre news.
I mean, if you got to make a buck, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want to get too
essentially prostitution.
Do not know. I didn't. I just something I heard.
Well, you did hear that, and I will tell you this. I used to use something called, it's not just Michigan. I think it used to be nationwide, Craigslist.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big, I sold okay, really quick. I sold a hot tub on Craigslist. Yes, I did, Monica.
No,
you know where this
is just
you know where this is going. I got so many responses from women of the evening.
I'm sure.
I mean,
were they asking you how many roses for the hot tub?
Oh boy!
Oh,
yeah,
you beat me to it, Monica.
Yes,
you beat me to it.
Yeah, they
beat me to it.
Well, yeah. They did.
There was a serial killer that was nicknamed the Craigslist Killer.
I
remember
that. There's a documentary on Netflix.
I still go on there and read the missed connections because they're hilarious.
Well, Craigslist.
I'll just go to random cities in the U.S.
Yeah, of course, Mark. Yes, Craigslist did provide for interesting reading. I will admit that. I really will.
Absolutely.
So I ended up selling the hot tub, and I'll leave it at that. So moving on.
For 10 dozen roses.
Yeah.
10 dozen.
Indeed. Here's something. Okay, we're gonna get on. Are you okay?
Monica's choking on her fireball.
She's choking.
Monica's choking on her fireball over there.
Oh yeah, fireball. Yum yum. So I'll pull up this picture to give you an idea what this is gonna be about.
Oh boy.
Yeah, another tunnel. Hey, imagine another tunnel.
Imagine
Gray
you
and
see that
sewer.
in the light that you're going towards.
There we go. See? There's always a method behind the madness. Declassified CIA files describes locations of alleged alien bases. Are there alien facilities in our solar system? The document pertains to a secretive remote viewing experiment designed to gain intelligence on military targets. Between the year of 1977 and 1995, the CIA had been heavily invested in experiments involving remote viewing, a type of alleged psychic projection enabling someone to view things over a long distances using only the power of their own mind. Known collectively as Project Stargate, these experiments were mainly aimed at acquiring information for military and domestic intelligence purposes, but could be used for other pursuits as well. Of course, we know about PSYOPs. We know this went down in the Cold War, all this, and that's where it started from. And examples of some of the more out there observations reported by remote viewers can be found in the declassified CIA files, which document many of their sessions. One such document, entitled Description of Personal Associated ET Bases, concerns alleged alien bases located not only on the Earth, but on other worlds within our own solar system as well. The remote viewer had also described various types of operatives working at these facilities from our government. All personnel observed at this base on the 20th of November in 1986 appeared to be no different than native Earthlings, wrote one concerned CIA operative called Titan. There are also two male technician types sitting at a control panel of some kind. Behind them stood an attractive female with brown shoulder-length hair, wearing a pale green lab coat or smock. She appeared to be in the role of some sort of supervisory role. Another section of the file you can also look up called the Mount Hayes Project in Alaska. There appeared to be two types of entities associated with this site, recalls another alleged remote viewer. The two entities, thank you, Sean. The two entities located outside of the structure were accomplishing some sort of routine task, unable to make contact with them or gain any sort of information. And it goes on to say that, yes, the remote viewers have found and spotted aliens. The CIA is very aware of aliens on our planet. They just do not want to make this, again, transparent to the United States for the fear of anarchy and uprising, yada, yada, yada. Again, that was like a very long, so I cut out as much as I could because I don't want to be mundane and read the whole thing. But so, we all know we have friends that are remote viewers, right? We know of remote viewing. Some of it I buy, some, speculative at best. Maybe it's all speculative, right? But you think this goes on? Do you think that the CIA has these operatives currently working, and you think that that does help them navigate through the alien phenomenon, navigate through the cryptid phenomenon? Do you buy into that?
I believe they have remote viewers, but I don't know what their control is to prove anything that they're seeing is legitimate off planet.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
off planet, how are you proving anything?
Yeah. How do you know?
I guess we don't. We just take it for granted, or we take it on a
You
person's
take their word
time.
for it because
right.
the government's
Really,
super trustworthy. Should
So-
definitely believe everything.
Yep.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm just way more cynical. I'm not going to take your word for anything. Like, I need some sort of evidence to back it up, or on planet, sure, yeah, I believe that there's a lot that's covered up. They know a lot more than all of the branches know way more than they're going to tell you. There's branches that we don't even know about that are operating. I have no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And but when you go off world and we're talking about alien bases on other planets within our solar system, we're not talking about the galaxy or the universe.
Yes.
We're talking about our tiny little solar system. It's interesting. I do believe that there is alien life out there. I think it's mathematically impossible that we are it for the entire universe, or galaxy for that matter. But I have a hard time believing what a remote viewer is telling me is going on one of the moons of, Saturn or Jupiter or something out in Uranus.
Well,
I agree.
I can usually tell you what's going on in my anus. I don't know about yours.
I had to laugh at this Bigfoot 5 podcast. Welcome to the show. Rob, we see a bologna sandwich in your fridge.
I see beer in your fridge.
Well, Monica's accurate, and no, I don't. I have not had bologna in my fridge in quite some time.
Ever since he ran out of Duke's mayonnaise.
I got a fresh bottle of Duke's. I made some chicken with some Duke's the other day for a little chicken sandwich.
A little sandwich.
Yeah. That's another story though. I don't want to talk about food because I'll go on about my sandwich experience. I always have an experience, but I'm not getting into that. Yeah, hey, I can go on 20 minutes about chicken and 2 pieces of bread. I could go on for 20 minutes. We're not doing that tonight.
We could talk food. We can always direct it towards food. It's always
a
conversation.
Yes, we always could.
So yeah, baby back tomorrow if we want to talk
bacon. Oh yeah, you got your morning show. Oh, you on the morning show tomorrow?
No, I'm cooking baby backs tomorrow.
Oh,
I did baby backs 3 days ago. Came out.
Did you?
Beautiful. Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned huli chicken marinade recipe.
Ooh.
That Chris and Lucas keep asking for, and I've made it like every weekend for the last month.
Wow. Before we continue on bizarre news, I guess I'll say that I must say that I'm actually proud of this. I didn't learn this over the years of owning the bar. We used to smoke food at the bar and do gas grill and charcoal. So we've done it all in the summertime because I had an outside. I set it up kind of cool outside where you could eat outside and barbecue outside, right?
Why didn't you do it in the winter, dude? It's only like 30 below.
30. Well, we tried it. We did. Yeah. Not too many. Yeah. It was just me and the cook outside. It's, it didn't work. But I will tell you this. I can do baby back ribs on my grill I'm not this guy that wants the meat to fall off the bone. You have to have a nice little bite into it, a little firm but tender. That's me. I can do baby back ribs in 58 minutes, beginning to end on the grill. I'm not. Most people that smoke them, it takes 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
but I could do them. The only thing it doesn't have is the smoke. But with the ingredients and the rub that I put on,
use lump charcoal. You get that smoky taste.
Yes, you can. Very good. Yep.
That's what I use. And it's direct heat and you get the smoky flavor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like $500 for the cheapest smoker. And listen, I love it outdoors. You guys both know
where
that.
you're buying your smokers at.
No shit.
Oh, $500, $499.
Well, are you doing indirect heat? You're doing an indirect heat.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But we're not going to get the whole smoker thing. Michigan's expensive, you guys.
I thought we weren't going to talk.
Smoker on my back porch. It looks like a mini fridge. The only time I use it is at Thanksgiving, and because I smoke my turkey every year.
And I will tell you this: I don't mind cooking something for 3 hours outside because I love being outside in the summer. But when I'm cooking, I've got the grill down to a science, and I'm not changing. That's just me.
Okay. We all have our thing. I use a lump charcoal grill and a smoker that looks like a mini fridge.
I have a charcoal grill and a gas, and I'm not going to invest in the smoker for $500. I'm just not right now, anyways.
Well, you don't have to in Texas. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, again, this is the North. We're Michigan's high on everything. We're the number one. We have the highest costs for car insurance.
I just really feel like I need to cook food for Rob. Like I feel compelled to cook food for Rob.
I'll take you up on that offer.
Like Mexican recipes that I have.
Oh yeah, my lord.
I introduced Rob to chili rellenos.
Yes, he
chili
did.
rellenos.
Yeah, I liked them.
Yeah.
Very nice. I enjoyed them immensely. See, I love Mexican food. I go to Southwest Detroit, which they don't speak a lick of English. It's all Spanish-speaking people, which I love. I love the culture. It's dangerous, of course, but I still enjoy it. But great Mexican food. But anyways, before we get too off of the subject, we'll go back to a little more bizarre news for everybody. And this next one, I do have a picture, and Monica brought this up earlier. Must have been reading my mind. Little dinosaur.
It's my remote viewing.
Yeah,
that's what. Oh, you know what? There you go. Remote viewing. It happens, and people do it. Okay, so. But you know what? Well, oh my gosh. Well, that was news too. Well, I'll skip that one for next. I'm going to go down to this since I already put up the thing. Okay, here we go. An increasing number of people claim to have witnessed a dinosaur-like creature in the forests of the Congo Basin. Said to resemble the size and shape of a giant sauropod dinosaur, the legendary creature known locally as Mokele Bembe. That sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah. That's very famous.
Yeah. Has been sighted in the Congo Basin since 2015. The very first account of the creature came courtesy of German Captain Ludwig von Stein, who had heard stories of the Mokele Bembe from local villagers during a 1913 survey of German colonies in what is now called modern-day Cameroon. While descriptions vary, the creature was said to be an enormous reptile with the size of an elephant with a long, flexible neck, a horn on its head, and a long alligator-like tail. It was also said to live in caves, and although it was known to kill people, it was entirely vegetarian. While the legend of the Mokele Bembe has faded into obscurity since then, in more recent years, including 2022 of October, by lifelong Congo researcher Ezekiel Marmora, it seems as though the creature has been sighted a lot more frequently. But what is behind this sudden resurgence, and could the creature actually be real? Some people believe that this otherwise inexplicable increase in sightings is most likely down to increasing amounts of deforestation in the Congo Basin. Animals of all sorts are being displaced, and inevitably, this means that they are encountering human settlements a lot more often. Perhaps some of these encounters have been misinterpreted as sightings of the creature. Then again, perhaps there really is a large unknown creature lurking in the forests of the Congo. So there you have it. Mokele Bembe. I thought that was familiar. I didn't put the two and two together.
Mokele Bembe.
Mokele Bembe. Yep. So that is a dinosaur.
Yep.
Alleged dinosaur that's existed for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
I find it fascinating. I find a lot of cool cryptid. I mean, that's a dinosaur, and paranormal stuff from the forest of the rainforest of the Amazon, Africa, the Congo. So what do you think? Do you think that this is lurking about in the Congo?
Sure, why not? I mean,
well, no, I'm laughing only because
not everybody's gone. I mean, there's remote places down in there. Why not?
Oh,
Well,
I mean,
first
if
of all, I
it's
agree
filmed,
with you. I was just laughing the way you said it because the same thing with, yeah, remote viewing. Why not? Don't believe you, but why not?
Sure, why not? You're seeing something.
purple dinosaurs. Yeah, why not? Barney's trying to make a comeback, by the way.
I never saw it.
You ain't got kids.
You.
Oh, I know Monica would find that amusing because I never watched anything, any television show or movie.
I'll tell you, my favorite cartoon that my kids watched back in the day was Angry Beavers.
What?
Yeah, Angry Beavers. It's a Nickelodeon cartoon about Norbert and Daggert.
Angry Beavers, eh?
Yeah, brother
Wow.
Beavers.
That's why my hot tub's sold.
That's who bought your hot
That's why.
tub for 10 dozen roses.
To an angry beaver.
I told that to a friend of mine back in the day at work, and she said that sounds like lesbian porn.
Yeah.
Angry beavers.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, why not, though, about Mokele and Bembe? I mean, it's a big continent. There are lots of places that have not really been explored. So, again, the locals been there longer than we have. They're saying they're seeing it. Why not?
Well, I do tell you what, though. What's that guy's name? The river monster hunter, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Fisherman
Jeremy
dude.
Wade.
Oh, yeah. I'm fascinated by that show because of nobody's gonna catch. Hey, he comes up with some monster looking fish, does he not?
Yeah, that's how I found out about tigerfish. And screw that. Tigerfish. No, I don't want to be anywhere near them.
Now wait a minute, you talking about tigerfish with the actual like fangs like a tiger?
Yeah.
Dinosaur teeth in their heads.
Ooh,
Yes.
no.
They're
I've seen
terrifying.
that.
They're
Yeah,
terrifying.
But that's not in our country.
And that reinforces my stance on murky water. Ain't going in it. Ain't going in it. If I can't see the bottom, I ain't going in it.
I worry. There's more stuff that I worry about that's a lot smaller than that.
Well, sure, especially in the Amazon, because I've got the fish that swims
Swim up your urethra,
and then it pops all its spines out, and you have to have it surgically removed because who doesn't want that?
Yep.
So I hope you're living right and you don't pee in the Amazon.
Yep.
I would not do that by the Amazon. I want to keep all my appendages.
You want to be sure you wear tight underwear in the Amazon.
You can't even pee off the side of a boat. It's like a salmon in a river.
I don't know that I
No.
Hey, Monica and Tex, I don't know that I tell you what, I'm kind of reckless. Certainly when I was a lot younger. I don't know though that I'd go venture on a boat in the Amazon. I don't think
I would. Sign me
I probably
back in the
would.
Day, I would have, but when I was young and way more fearless, calculated risks at this point, I've got more years behind me than ahead of me. I need to be careful with what I've got left.
I'm closer to, beyond the grave than.
Obviously, Chris would.
He of course. I don't know if I was there though. I would get caught up in the moment. Monica, if you were down there, I mean, you probably would too. I don't know how.
Would what?
Get on
the Amazon?
No, get out of the boat in the Amazon.
Hell no.
You would not
get out of the boat in the U.S.
Well, I gotta tell you, it's not even go about boats on the U.S. I will tell you that the last time I was on a boat, I was on a cruise. I take that back. But the last time I was on a boat was last week. Remember, I told you about that incident I had on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean, I'll get on a boat I ain't getting out of the boat willingly.
You're gonna get on a boat
unless
that's
it's going
docked.
down.
You're not going on a boat that's off, that's released from shore. Will you
No,
go on a cruise? Will you go on a cruise?
No, I don't. I have no desire to go on. It's like
Me either. Me either.
the cruises are so dirty to me. I do not want to go on a cruise ship.
Well, I never really thought about the dirty part, but just the part. More bad things happen on cruise ships than in the airlines.
Yeah, and they don't adhere to U.S. laws, by the way.
Yeah.
So if something bad goes down, you better figure out where that
there's
out of.
There's no law out in the ocean when you get to a certain point, though. There's a certain point it's open law. That's why you have all the piracy going on. Tex, you want to comment on that? I'll be right back in just a second. Okay, hang on. All right.
Sure, got it. So it's always been on my bucket list to go down and fish for peacock bass in the Amazon.
No,
but
cool.
I was, you start talking about you got the little catfish that swim up your urethra. You've also got the nut cutter fish, the ones that eat they're vegetarians, but they've been known to chomp on guys' nads, and other undercarriage.
Imagine a woman you guys are relatively contained, right? Y'all are relatively contained as long as you're not peeing. Girls are not. Can you imagine what would happen? What's swimming up where for a woman? No.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
you're wearing gaiters and the water ain't getting in. That's one thing. Just backstroking through the Amazon for the hell. No. No.
Well, the Amazon's kind of like Australia. Everything wants to eat you.
Yeah, it does.
I'll kill you.
And guess what? It will.
Yeah,
it will.
I mean, because you got the what's the name of that? The goonch catfish that drowns people.
The gooch.
Yeah,
I've heard that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they get about 7 feet long, and they'll drown you.
Yay. One more thing to look forward to. That's why you stay in the boat. Stay in the boat.
Yeah, my days of going in any waterways, I'm not doing it anymore. I did it all the time growing up.
I can't see what's coming for me. I don't want to do it. And I still freaked out swimming in Hawaii, and I could see. But when I was down, following the cool little mama and baby turtle, and then I stopped and looked around and realized at a certain point, the blue becomes gray, and there's a boat out there with a cage on it, just right off the reef I was swimming on, where people are going for shark excursions. I'm thinking, no.
I do want to do that.
I would like to do a shark excursion.
I do want to go. I do want to go on a shark cage dive. I do want to do that.
I'd do a shark cage dive.
You would?
I would.
Okay,
but you got the cage. It's a false sense of security, but
yes, it is.
Just like a tent makes you feel safe. It's
you saw Jaws.
Because here's a newsflash: the cage where the scene where the shark is rolling over and tearing up the cage in Jaws
was real. I know.
Well, I was watching a video the other day where a shark got in the cage. Yeah. Yeah, but that's rare. Consider all the cage dives that happen. I would say it can happen for sure.
Yeah, but you told me the other day
you could plummet to the bottom just as easy.
You told me the other day you don't have any luck, so I wouldn't push it.
I don't have any luck.
My luck is hit or miss, and usually it's a miss. Anyways, we will move on to this other bit of bizarre news, everybody. And this one is kind of creepy. I do have a photo. Well, photo that I made actually. if I can just find it, all this stuff I got. I know I always say this. Check that out. This picture
That's fun.
that's supposed to be a red. By the way, for everyone watching, I don't know if you're on your phone or where you're at. That wristband is supposed to be red. It's a key component to
Somebody's
this.
colorblind. Okay.
Yeah, just a key component for this bit of bizarre news, and that's called the red wristband.
Okay.
The doctor was working at a hospital. I got this from some paranormal magazine. It was back April 8th publication date. A doctor was working at a hospital where the patients were tagged with colored bands. Green states you're alive. Red, you're deceased. One night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement of the hospital. And so he headed to the lift. The lift doors opened, and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. Patients were allowed to roam around the hospital to stretch out, especially those who had stayed there for long periods of time. I'm guessing it's kind of maybe an asylum. I don't know. The rule.
I got questions already.
Yeah.
Right.
Very good. The rule was to be back in their rooms before 10 o'clock at night. The doctor smiled at the patient before pressing the number for the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. He wondered if she was heading to the basement as well. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors opened. In the distance, a man was limping towards the elevator. And in a panic, the door slammed. The elevator button closes. It finally did open back up, and the lift began to ascend back up, while all of this doctor's heart's pounding. According to this article, of course. Why did you do that? He was trying to use the lift. The woman stated to the doctor, very annoyed. And then she says, did you see his wrist? The doctor asked. It was red. He died last night. I would know because I did his surgery. The woman lifted her wrist. He saw that she had a red wrist or red band on her wrist as well. Ugh, that's kind of weird, eh?
Is that where it ends?
That's where it ends. It was short.
Okay,
you know?
First of all, what kind of a facility has to tag dead people and live people?
Yeah.
Don't you get the toe tag in the morgue? That's what I always.
Well, I mean, holy shit, what's going on where you can't tell if somebody's alive or dead?
Yes.
I think I want to find it. I think I want to
have surgery at.
I think I want a second opinion.
You know, and what's unusual about this, I don't know about you guys, both the people, both were dead, right? I mean,
well, they said they were dead. Maybe they weren't. Holy cow. I mean, they got a color code to be sure.
Maybe the person was maybe the candy striper on duty was colorblind.
Or maybe the doctor doesn't know how to tell if that's a heartbeat or if they're in a coma or what. And the dude freaking wakes up with half his surgery completed and he's trying to get the hell out of the morgue. And he sees, the elevator and people, and he's trying to get to it. And the doctor's like, hell no. Nah.
You know? Right. Come on,
Stay
right.
in the morgue. You're supposed to be dead.
What do you mean I had a vasectomy? I came in here for a tonsillectomy.
Oh, you know,
the video where the guy's going under and the anesthesiologist says, okay, just count back from 10. And when you wake up, your sex change will be complete. And he's flipping out as he's going there. He's like, no, where's my tonsils? No, I want a sex change.
Yeah, you know.
Oh
my gosh, I would go crazy. I would. Oh my God. I don't know that the anesthesia would knock me out.
Yeah, well, he was fighting it, I can tell you.
You know. And on a sad note, people have gone in for. I mean, yeah, that's really extreme. But I've seen accounts right in my local hospital where people have gone in for valve replacement and had kidney replaced or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Oh,
My
I've
father.
heard of them removing the wrong limb and the wrong lung and the wrong organ.
My dad refused to go to. I'm not saying that they're like this any longer, but back in the 80s, 90s, he refused to go to the VA. Refused to go to the VA. Because he said you go in for one thing and you're coming out like you said, Rob, you go in for a tonsillectomy and come out less a kidney.
It's happened. It's and then on a more serious note, which we won't get into that, things have happened that have caused people to leave our planet because of malpractice. It's
I mean, that'll happen anywhere, and that's why
that'll happen anyway. It does happen.
They're not infallible. Things are going to happen.
No, human beings are prone to make mistakes. I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, or any of these highfalutin educated people. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, and you just don't want to be the unfortunate person that they have a bad day with.
Just like
there's a reason they call it practicing medicine. I'm just saying.
Well, or practicing engineers. We've all heard the stories of these elaborate bridges. They go up and they go down within years because we missed something on our.
Let me tell you, as a construction person,
I'm pretty convinced that whoever engineered the new 35 bridge needs to learn how to read a tape measure.
Yeah. Oh, you got to field verify it before you build it, Tex. Now, we said it needs to go here, but you have to field verify that it's above the floodplain. Doesn't matter what we wrote. The construction people have to field verify.
The guys that are building that bridge, you think they looked up like this and said, why is that bridge so high and this one's so low?
Not my problem.
Yeah, not my problem.
What about
build to plan? That's what the engineer said.
And that this has happened throughout the years. We have an engineer puts together his part of the project and everything's been approved. And now the bridge, let's just say, is being constructed. And then the engineer goes over his plans that he contributed after several months of building and finds something where he says, I missed something. And they're hesitant to say anything because billions or trillions or call it millions of dollars have been spent, only to find out that his flaw cost people.
That happened in San Francisco on the new Bay Bridge.
No, did it really?
Yeah, they built using some faulty screw, and now all the screws are starting to shear. So, and that happened also with the Salesforce building in San Francisco. They didn't go down to bedrock, so the building was doing this.
Oh.
Yeah. So people were paying millions of dollars for condos up on the high floors, and you could put a ball on the floor and it would roll. Yeah. That's bad. And that's an engineer's the engineers can be found they can go to prison.
They can, like this one person I was talking, or what I just made the story up, which I know goes on, but in the real world, if you know something and you keep that, even if you don't know it, hey, that's negligence on your part, and you can.
Well, you have to, if you see something that looks wrong, you have to raise a flag. But ultimately, the engineer, you have to build to the plans the engineer hands you. So it's all on the enginer's head, as long as you do not deviate from those plans. And if you make any kind of deviation, you document the crap out of it.
It's not the builders are off the hook.
God forbid you question an engineer and architect.
I do it all the time. Not so much the engineers, but the architects. I'll be like, did you go to physics class? When they draw something that is literally impossible and I ask them how to do it, that's when they toss means and methods at me. That's just means and method. You can figure it out.
I know that. I think that one.
Yeah, it's like Okay, so this 18-inch pipe goes in that 6-inch hole.
Yeah, means and methods. Get some grease.
Yeah.
I do know that we all become very intelligent in areas that we don't know anything about when we're having something done. Years ago, when I was with my wife, we were having a house built, and I knew nothing about construction, you guys. I just was having some house built from scratch, and I was able to be on site quite often. In fact, I became a pain in the butt for the project manager and some of the guys on the site. Are you sure about this? Well, yeah. Okay. I know I'm not the professional here, but there's certain oddities that I just kind of
You
struck.
should bring them up if you think it's wrong.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
most of the times I was wrong.
And a good superintendent or project manager will explain it to you.
Yes. Until the day, you guys, before I get on with our last story, sitting at my site at the house is getting done, and they're in the kitchen area, and it was an open. I mean, there was no roof, there was no beams, or the peak of the house was yet to be completed, which I thought was a little odd, right? I thought it would go up all in one piece, but this house was not. And then I'm outside, and this was like a 2-acre property, and this was and then in the distance I hear helicopters, and this is a true story, right? And I'm like, what the hell is all that noise, right? And I must tell you that the wife, upgrade city, this house, okay? The $250,000 home was now over $350,000. Okay. Now listen though, it goes worse. There's helicopters, 2 helicopters now, they're coming in, and all these guys, they left me and they were all out positioning themselves in the kitchen. In this kitchen, you guys, was like built for like a chef. Not my idea, but anyway, it's what happened. It was, as I'm looking, the helicopter it was, transporting something with chains, and these guys are out running around, and it was a huge piece of granite countertop for the kitchen, imported from Africa, that I found.
Oh my God.
That they lowered it over the base of the top of the kitchen area.
How big was it?
It was like a beast. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't order. What is that? That's your countertop in the kitchen. Pure granite imported from Africa. Beautiful, from what I noticed. I said, wait. Whoa. No. That was not part of the plan. Not part of the plans at all. Well, your wife called us last week and placed the order. You know what that cost? I'm already up to $350,000 from $250,000 to $350,000. That lone piece, along with the helicopter fee and everything else, was $119,000.
Holy crap! They couldn't have just gotten a crane in there.
There was gold embezzled throughout this granite countertop.
Jiminy cricket!
I said, no, I'm not doing it.
I'm trying to figure out how the hell they choppered it in.
Because it was like military cop. It was like military.
Yeah, but typically if you're putting finishes if you're at the point where you're putting a countertop on, you shouldn't have an open roof.
It was kind of a rough draft. That's why I said, Monica. That's why I said that earlier, because I knew you would catch this. It wasn't like your normal build. It was the peak. It was this open sky inside the house, and it was mostly all wood. And they were working on the kitchen, and I seen this, and I knew the kitchen was be big. I didn't really care about that, but we were just going with your basic, a form of granite, I guess it was, but not this exquisite piece from Africa that I didn't sign off on. The wife did. I call her on the phone. Oh, I'm gonna blow an artery here. Thinking about it.
The memory's going to give you a migraine.
We were divorced 3 months later.
No, that's fun.
Not because of the house, though.
Well, I'm sure it didn't help.
She kept the house, and I kept the marital house. Ha ha. She got stuck with the $3,500 payment, and I kept the house that was paid for. Ha ha. Moving on.
I don't understand that.
I don't know. That's one of the I had a crazy marriage. I didn't get that. You don't hide that from your husband. That's all I'm saying.
Not that much. Holy crap.
Yeah. Okay, 10 grand. Okay, I guess I'll live with it.
I mean, if I was footing the bill personally, I'd be like, deal with it. I'm paying for it.
Well, I'm not getting into that. Hey, listen. I was not too happy.
I imagine.
So this last one, Monica, because I said this earlier about the if you guys recall earlier, the eBay stuff, right? Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, this is pretty
that's
cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting last piece of bizarre news for the late show. Let me just scroll here where I got it. Thanks everybody for coming on in really quickly. I do want to thank, who was it? Hey, Sean Hertel for your awesome super sticker. Thank you for that. Pirates are open, super stickers, all that's open. Subscribe to Bigfoot Mr. Rob on YouTube if you're new. Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World, Texas Front Porch, and the Blondes and the Booze. Thank you so much for that, you guys. Like it, hit the like bell, you guys. Hit the like bell and leave a comment after. Okay, here we go. Bizarre news. Well, I'm still on the Mokemble Membe here thing. More than 100 coffins have, thanks, Diane, remember, for 15 months.
Awesome.
Time, gosh, you guys, time flies. 15 months already.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diane. Love you. News 4, more than 100 coffins have been desecrated by grave robbers making voodoo charms from body parts. Yeah. The spate of grave robberies has been condemned by officials and spiritual leaders alike in the West African country of Benin. Those responsible have been resuming bodies from cemeteries, making voodoo good luck charms from the parts and then selling them off for a sizable profit. Oh boy. Other individuals have been using the parts for nefarious actions, causing quite a disturbance in the area with an uptick in strange deaths and illness.
Yeah.
The desecration of graves is about money in this region, said cemetery director Joseph Afatan. It is for the sacrifices or for bewitching. This isn't the only such case that hit the news in recent times either. Last month, and this came out on the 13th of April. Last month, 5 people were arrested in Thailand for stealing human skulls and using them to make love charms and other despicable reasoning. And that's how it kind of ends. I think we had something similar last week. You weren't here. Text me and Monica and what we're on, and we were talking about voodoo dolls and witchcraft in Haiti. And Monica, we kind of agreed that went on, but boy, this is
see, I don't understand. Like, I'm just racking my brain how human body parts are going to be used for any kind of positive intention. That's not typical.
It doesn't sound right, does it?
And yeah, they're getting sick. I mean, goofer dust and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that.
It don't make no sense.
But, hex bags or, any kind of like negative intention, I can see like doing that kind of thing. And I mean, they rob graves in Louisiana all the time for that kind of crap.
Yep.
Calling it love spells is
human body parts are used as a love spell.
No. They ain't doing nothing nice with that stuff.
How could
They're not. I mean, they're not.
I'm going to go with
After I offed my wife for costing me all that money, I did keep a piece of
You
her.
offed your wife for that?
I kept a piece of her femur.
Okay. Well, she's going to haunt you for that.
But there you go, though. What I'm saying is, I just obviously made that up. I did not off my wife. As far as I know, she's still alive. But that's kind of the same thing, right? I mean, you're taking stealing grave body parts for cast love spells. I mean, I can't see anything loving.
They're not casting love spells with it. They're doing
They're not.
Yeah, I know they're not.
They're not.
They're just putting some lipstick on that pig. They ain't doing anything nice.
Say, I love you to death.
And so
literally.
So last week, Tex, Monica, we're talking about, voodoo and witchcraft. And we both came to the conclusion, we believe that does go on. When you take the doll, and I actually have a doll, by the way, not on my possession.
They're pretty easy to make.
It's out in the shed, yeah. But we're talking about, when you have to get an effect of somebody, like a lock of hair or whatever. Yep. And you can put it together and literally poke it. And the person that you're trying to haunt or cast this doom on can feel the prick from miles away. And in some instances, jab you in the heart. You have a heart attack, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not to inflict immediate pain, but it's to create issues with that area.
Issues that could lead to sometimes, death,
like if they're stabbing them in the heart, right? You get like a heart attack or something similar. Yeah.
So Monica and I were talking about that. We believe that does go on and probably exists today. What's your thoughts on that, Tex? You weren't here to join us in that conversation.
I think a lot of it, I mean, and I think a lot of it is how much power you give it yourself,
Right.
But it's been around a long time, and there's a lot of people mixed up in it for it not to work. I'm just going to okay.
I mean, I think a lot of it is spicy psychology too. Like a good, not all of it. I do think that there's, energy is power, and anything you put a lot of energy into is going to manifest in some form. But a lot of it, again, is spicy psychology. You get somebody in the right frame of mind, and you're like, somebody, I don't know, cuts in line in front of you. You get PO'd, and you're like, you like wave your fingers around and mumble something, and then tell them that you've just cursed them for the next 6 months or hexed them. Because a hex is short term, a curse is long term. So you've just hexed them. And if they're of that mindset, anything bad that befalls them, they'll start thinking about it. You leave an impression in their mind, they're going to attribute anything bad to you doing, whether or not you really did something.
Right. Absolutely.
Cool Hands says, at least if you're cremated, there's nothing to grave. Nothing.
They just made it already pulverized in a handy takeout form.
Yeah, I tell you what, you could take that and put it in a little flask, right? Take that.
Yeah, if you go into a mausoleum and bust open those that's a bunch of powdered humans for you already.
Rolling around.
You have to put them in the old mortar.
Can you imagine rolling around in powdered human dust? Ugh.
That's just so disrespectful, taking any kind of human part for anything.
Oh, come on.
First, but it happens. I mean,
Oh, it does. It does.
It is, but that does go on. They're
so
weird.
If you want to see something interesting, watch Cajun Justice. Right, it was only on for one season, but they caught some people trying. They actually broke into the grave. Because all of the graves in Louisiana are above the water table, so they're all mausoleums essentially. And some kids literally busted open one and took somebody's head, and then a mile down the road they ditched it because it smelled so dang bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, and they talk about the loop guru. They got a lot of calls about the loop guru.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It was a good show. I was sad that it was only on for one season.
How do you spell prophecy?
PROPHECY. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It didn't look right. Never mind. Go ahead.
Were you looking for something prophetic?
No. I'm multitasking.
Are you looking for the prophecy?
I saw the movie The Prophecy. I saw it. It's a B movie. I love B movies. It's a great B movie. You can find it on.
You're talking about the one with the bear?
You're talking about the nature one where the things hunting the people down? Or are you talking about the one with Christopher Walken where there's a war in heaven and the angels are coming down?
I did not see the Christopher Walken one.
You need to watch the Christopher Walken one.
This one was with the young Armand Asante. You know who that is?
Yeah, I know who that is, but that's not.
Or maybe it was. Well, it was an Italian dude.
Well, that is not the bear one then. That's a good one.
Not the bear one.
No, it was a good one. He it was in Maine, and he was a researcher. He tried to go and figure out why the people were dying, and they thought it was from the chemical plant. And he was right, but the chemical plant formulated this humanoid creature.
Oh, well, that sounds like the main one because it's the paper mill and it's mercury getting in the water that causes the bear to deform and go nuts.
Well, that's what I saw. Yeah. Christopher Walken wasn't in that.
No. Those are two separate.
No.
Okay.
The Christopher Walken one, there's the one about the bear, which is what Tex was talking about. That sounds like that's the one you were talking about.
Okay, and
then there's another
be the same
one
movie
with Christopher Walken.
I love
it has nothing to do with bears.
Yeah. I like Christopher Walken. He's a pretty cool actor.
He's awesome. I love him.
Yeah, one of my favorites. He's also funny on Saturday Night Live when it was.
He's nice and creepy. I like creepy.
He is a creepy.
Your dad put this watch up his ass for 2 years.
Yeah. One of the many.
I got a fever, and the only cure is more cowbell.
More cowbell. More It's hot. More cowbell.
And he wore this uncomfortable son of a bitch for 2 years.
Yeah, I remember that movie too. Bruce Willis. That was with John Travolta. That was
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Now that's one movie I've seen. Yeah.
I can quote him in Prophecy. You know how you got that dimple at the top of your lip? Before you were born, I told you a secret, and I put my finger there, and I said, shh.
I did not see that. I got to see
He plays Gabriel, the archangel.
Oh, now I've got to see that one. What's the name of that again? Prophecy?
The Prophecy.
The Prophecy.
The Prophecy. That's a good one.
I like it. And he was also in the Stephen King movie, The Stand. No, he was in where he could see into the future. What was that?
Oh, Dead Zone.
The Dead Zone. Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah,
the book was pretty good too.
And I loved him in Sleepy Hollow, right? The Headless Horseman.
I did not see him in that either.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that one out.
The Hessian.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Jojo. I did see Pulp Fiction. One of the many. Yeah, I haven't seen many movies. It seems, which is weird because I do watch movies. I don't know. Seems like every movie that Monica's seen or Tex I've never seen. It's just weird that way. I guess I don't
know. Have y'all watched Nefarious yet?
No.
Mm-mm.
You're missing a great movie. I'm telling you, you're missing a great movie.
Nefarious.
I had a cat named Nefarious.
Oh, really? It's a cool name.
Yeah, I had a black cat named Nefarious.
Because cats are nefarious.
Very fitting. Yes.
Cats are always up to no good.
Bullshit. My cats are awesome.
No, well, when I say it, I mean that with all due love. I love it. Monica, again, reverting back to the ex-wife, Pitter and Patter, my two Siamese cats.
Oh.
Pitter and Patter. They were Siamese. They were the blue something Siamese cats. There's a term for them. But anyway, they're 100%. Of course, we had to drive 5 hours away to get them. The cats hated the wife. They loved me. Yeah, I trained them. I trained them how to fetch a ball like a dog.
Oh.
And they're the first ones to drop the dead mouse on my open mouth while I was snoring, sleeping in bed.
That's them saying you're a crappy hunter.
They were so proud to show me what they killed for me, you know. They always, they always purred and got on my lap, never the wife. How could they love you and not me? I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder why I love you.
I'm siding with the cats.
Yeah. Of course, she got the cats. She got the 300,000+ house with the African bullshit put in it. And the cats. I didn't want the house. I said, you can have it. I'm not paying nothing on it.
Give me my cats.
But I want my cats. No, you need. I'm keeping the cats.
I'd have fought on that.
Oh, I did my best. I failed. I failed.
Joint custody. Is she the type of person that would give up inconvenience after a short while?
Well, very much so. She probably gave up on them because I was calling about my cats all the time through other sources, and they died 8 months later, and they were only 8 years old.
Yeah, I'd have fought for joint custody. I would. That's no joke.
They died because they missed me. I'm convinced of it. And I'm not be bragging, you guys. I'm not. That's what my first thought was. They miss me. They don't like her.
No.
But anyway, that's the way the cards were dealt with young Peter and Patter. God rest their souls. With that being said, this was a fantastic show, you guys. Thanks, Tex, for joining me. I don't expect you next Saturday because I think you're on every Saturday, probably on and off, right? Is that the deal?
Not yet.
That's not until June.
Oh, we got okay, good. Well, I got you next Saturday.
Well, maybe we'll see.
Unless you're moonlighting with Brant, you might be moonlighting. You might be out with the old lady, the wife, right? Okay,
we'll see. If I can be here, I'll be here.
I got you. We should have Brandi and Krista back next week. That'd be cool to talk to them. It's always fantastic because I can always rely on Monica to come on in on every Saturday night at 11.
Old faithful.
Subscribe to our channels. Yes, Monica. I gave Monica a blueprint of my backyard.
He did. It was an awesome drawing.
Thank you. Yeah. So we have plans for my yard, and we'll talk next week or whatever, Monica, on that. Okay. With that being said, hit the like button on your way out. Please subscribe. Thanks for the super chat from Sean, I believe it was. Fantastic show. Thanks for tuning in. With that being said, for Monica and for Tex, I am BMR, and you guys have a great rest of the weekend.
This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to Eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.